We are floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show, where we're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, my friend, my main man is Dr. Paul Thompson. How are you, Brother Paul, today?
I am pretty good, Commander Drew. It's good to see you. I'm alive and kicking, ready to go. I had my super cold shower so I can be stimulated to talk to you, and I'm ready to go.
Good. Oh, yeah, I wanted to tell you, I'm getting my cold dip pool here. And just a little caveat here, after you do weight training, you don't want to get in the cold dip because that doesn't allow muscle growth. So I just figured I'd tell you that. All right, everybody, we start off with a quote every week, and this one is a good one. Brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going even though you are. That's Angie Thomas. I'll do it again. Brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going even though you are. You like that, Dr. P?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's a good quote. Yeah, brave. Sometimes you just have to kind of go through things. I guess it's a little tough when it's something that's brand new and has a high degree of risk to it. You may be a little bit nervous, but that's good because it keeps you alert.
Well, let's talk about landing on the carrier at night. I was scared every single time, 183 times. The very first one, the very last one. They all had the same fear factor. All I learned how to do was control it and work it better. Now, when you're flying a Navy jet, as you know, Paul, when you're scared, you have to think better. You actually go the other way. You start thinking quicker and more stable in a jet.
Yeah.
Don't you agree, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with that. I wasn't, you say you were scared every time. I wasn't. Well, sometimes, a lot of times it was routine. Like, I think most of my traps were actually at night, strangely enough. That doesn't mean I'm complacent, but I got comfortable with it. Pretty comfortable with it. Sometimes things would go not so great. And that comfort level, all of a sudden you're out of your comfort zone deep and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And sometimes we just have to settle down and go back to basics.
That's funny you said that because most of my traps were at night too. You think there's something about that? I don't know. But anyway, they were scary as hell for me. But I controlled it, I lived, and I did well.
One thing I could ask, I'm not sure about this, but I think the U.S. Navy may be the only Navy or the only one of the few, excuse me, that operates carriers at night. I have to check
Really?
that. I don't think everybody does night stuff. I have to look.
Well, there are only two kind of pilots in the world, ones that fly off of ships and ones that wish they could. Dr. Paul, how about some good news for the Wingman Show? We always start off with good news because the media thinks that if it bleeds, it leads. Well, the Wingman Show believes that if it's good, it should. How about this? Violent crime is actually down 15%, and that's by the FBI. That's amazing. That's good news. And wages outperform the forecast, and hiring outperformed the forecast. If you're a CEO, how about this great news? CEOs got a pay raise of $1 million. Instead of averaging 14.5, the top CEOs are now making 15.7 on an average. And my man, Hak Tan, made 165 million this year. So that's our little good news, especially if you're CEO. What do you think about that good news, Dr. P?
I guess that's good news for you if you're a CEO. Yeah, the CEO compensation's gone up tremendously. You ever hear of something called I think it was the Dodd-Frank Act?
I have heard of it, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think it came as a result of the financial crisis of 2007 and 8. Yeah, 2008 or so. And it was supposed to give more public disclosure on what people are paid, I guess, for public companies. So they have to put this out. I think it just became effective like in 2017. But they put it out, and I guess it's a good list to get on.
It's a great list to get on, I guess. Well, let's do a little update here. Last week, we talked about North Korea sending garbage balloons to South Korea. And the good news was that North Korea stopped doing it. Well, let's reverse that because North Korea is continuing to send garbage to South Korea via balloons, which is weird as hell, Paul.
Yeah. You know why they're doing that?
Yes, because South Korea sends propaganda and loudspeakers over to North Korea. They actually have loudspeakers just talking propaganda. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in World War II, sometimes they would drop leaflets, to give messages. But now everybody's, I guess they got a phone or a speaker.
All right. Now, how about this one? Jerry West. That's not good news. The only good news about Jerry West passing away was that he gave us basketball like we've never seen before. Jerry West was a great basketball player, a great general manager, and I really didn't like the way they portrayed him in that Laker documentary. But Jerry West, man, do you remember when he hit that shot against the Knicks with no time left to tie up the game in the seventh game, I believe, of the World Championships?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't think it was the seventh game. I think it was one before. I think it was 3-3 at that point or something like that. I remember. Now you said you were there, Drew. Is that right?
I was at the Garden, and Dave DeBusschere caught the ball coming through the basket and collapsed. It was a 6'5" jump shot Jerry West made.
Yeah, this is pre-Steph Curry, and there was no three-point shot at that time, was there?
No, there wasn't. And let me tell you, Jerry West could shoot right with the best of them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I thought. Do you remember Gail Goodrich?
Yes.
I thought I thought that was one of the best backcourts in the NBA that I watched. Jerry West and Gail Goodrich. You don't hear much about them.
No, you don't. But I thought Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe were.
Yeah, that's
And so
true.
they
I agree.
played.
They were contemporaries. They were contemporaries.
Well, let's finish talking about basketball because this Caitlin Clark not making the Olympics is a major story here. Let me get your take on it, Paul. What do you think about Caitlin Clark being left off the Olympic squad?
I see that on one level because she just literally got into the league. The season just started. She doesn't have any years behind her, and there are people been here, have been playing in WNBA before who are also very good. But then you could say, from a marketing standpoint, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have somebody like that on their team. I don't know if they call it a dream team, but do you remember the '92 dream team with Christian Leitner?
Yes, he was a college ball player that they put on the dream team.
Right. I guess they had to. But
They did that for marketing because he just hit that great shot in
right,
the national championship game and it brought viewers.
right. Well, she's I don't know. I haven't been out of the country for a while, but I bet to this point she's probably globally known. So
100%, Dr. Paul. First of all, the WNBA is averaging now 1.3 million viewers a game, where it used to be 400,000. They have almost tripled their viewership. They have made a whole lot more money. And here's the deal. Caitlin Clark is not one of the top 12 women basketball players in the country. So really, she should make it. But on the other hand, women's basketball is in a new era. And young girls all over the world, like you said, are looking at women's basketball. And if Caitlin Clark participation in the Olympics would raise, like what does Stephen A. Smith say? He says, if you raise the tide, all the boats go up. And I think that Caitlin Clark actually has done amazingly great things for women's basketball. So maybe they should have thought of putting her on the team. And it's still not too late, Paul.
they say it may happen because I think there's one lady that's on the team that is still injured.
Chelsea Gray.
Chelsea Gray. So are you going to take an injured player? Probably not. That would be a face-saving way to not even reverse position, but to expand it. I could see that happening. But yeah, what's the average attendance for it? If it's I'm going to make a statement because I read this yesterday. Do you know what the average attendance is at a WNBA game without Caitlin Clark.
I thought it was like 3 or 4 thousand.
Yeah, they say it's up to a maximum of seven, but when she's playing, it's 17,000.
Wow.
I just read that yesterday, if it's true or not. So she's basically her presence is, whether you like it or not, or resentful or not, her presence is basically filling up stadiums the same way LeBron would or Michael would, because they're same seating. He's feeling putting people in the seats. That's a
Well,
lot
let's
of
talk a little bit
commerce.
about Caitlin Clark here. They are roughing her up big time in the WNBA. They're knocking her down. She's playing okay, but
Right.
because she's Caitlin Clark, they're really focusing on her, and they're roughing her up a little bit there, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, yeah. Have you noticed? I can't think of any. Can you name any other athlete who you actually know who's been fouled? They talk about the foul. You know about her fouls, even though she might have been fouled in a game like 2 weeks ago. But you know every hard foul that she's had. Just about. It's a news story.
It's real hard to be that famous and get into a league like that. LeBron was able to do it, Kobe was able to do it, but even when they were young, they didn't just take over. So it's going to take a little while. They wanted Caitlin Clark to start hitting 50 the first game.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, check out those badass jets we got behind us. I have F-18s from the Spanish Air Force, and Dr. P has A4s dropping bombs, and both of us flew A4s. What do you think about those A4s, Dr. P?
That's nice. Yeah, the model I have, I guess those are A4 mics from old A4 mic, A4M models, call them Mike, the phonetic alphabet. A4Ms from the Marine Corps dropping those are snake eye bombs. Uh, you probably dropped snake eyes at one point.
Yeah,
And
snake eyes. That means the fins come out and they go straight down.
yeah, yes. Basically, it gives you time to get away.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much out there for watching us, for supporting us on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. Thank you so much, everybody who listens to us on Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and LinkedIn. Thanks for the support. And we have a newsletter. And the newsletter this week is going to be How to Overcome Fear, which I think is a great newsletter to have. And if you would like to write us, or if you'd like that newsletter, get us at wingmanshow.com. That's wingmanshow.com. And you can read our newsletter. And we also have a section in there called the Frequent Flow Line. And that means you can ask Paul and I a question, and we will try to answer it. And we got one. And this is from last week's show, Dr. Paul. Here's a father, a 38-year-old father from Detroit, Michigan. How about this? His son has been offered $150,000 in 10th grade, $150,000 to represent a sports drink, but it's a 5-year contract. And the father says the kid is very, very good basketball player, and he wants to know our opinion on what he thinks he should do. What do you think, Paul?
Oh, that's quite an opportunity to be a representative in high school, 10th grade. You can see where things are going. There'll be middle schoolers who'll be doing the same thing. But I say that's pretty good over five. Okay, you said 5 years, 150 grand, so that's 30 grand a year. That's not bad. There's a lot of things you could do. If he's 10 years old, if he's in the 10th grade,
He's 15.
he's 15. Okay. He could bank that money. I'm just thinking I would think of banking, and if you need to eat, eat. But he could have his own IRA 401k, make it a Roth IRA for a Roth 401k, and have that money compound for the rest of his life. He let it
Here's the
go for
other
like
side of
50
that,
years.
Paul. This guy, if he's really that good, that contract will be worth nothing when he's 19, 20 years old and he's making millions.
That's
And
right.
that sports drink company has got a real good deal on it. But once again, like you said, you can get hurt at any time in sports. And
That's right.
so if I were you, I'd take the $150,000 and put it for his college education.
Yeah.
Probably won't need it because he'll probably get a scholarship.
Probably so. And I would just a cautionary tale. This gets people uh have a tax, but don't forget taxes.
Don't
Don't
forget
forget
that. That's right.
taxes, and
It's
they
only
get
going
a
to make really
nasty
75,
surprise.
80,000.
That's right.
All right, Dr. Paul, you know what that brings us to? It brings us to a Wingman PSA from the 11 Facts in Life under fact number 9. Do what you're supposed to do, not what you want to do, until what you're supposed to do becomes what you want to do. And then do what you want to do. Dr. Paul, you and I both love that one. Do what you're supposed to do, not what you want to do. A lot of us have not reached our potential because we keep thinking we want to do what we want to do. Well, there's a lot of things that you want to do that you can't do. Do what you're supposed to do. And most of us know what we're supposed to do, Paul.
Yeah, Drew. Well, Drew, you talk about discipline a lot, don't you?
I sure do.
Yeah, well, and that's a big part of it. Have the discipline to complete your mission, or as some would say, do what you say on paper. Instead
Yeah.
of pushing stuff down the road. And we all do that, I think. Get a little bit busy and wrapped up in things and take shortcuts. So maybe that's what it should. Don't take every shortcut.
No, short. You know what the easiest way to do something is? I always found out the easiest way to do it, it took a long time to learn, is do it the right way.
Yeah, I agree.
Do it the right way.
Yeah, and sometimes that's slow and steady, not as quick as you want it.
But usually it's the fastest way, so because you don't have to do it 2 or 3 times again.
Right, exactly.
All right, so we have the gouge every week, and the gouge is Navy stuff. We used to say stuff you need to know, or I used to say shit you need to know. But the gouge this week is Apple Pay and shop is the way. I didn't realize this, but you should buy. Drew told me this, my son. You should buy things on Apple Pay and shop because it does not give your credit card numbers out. And I didn't know that. And that's a very safe way to shop online, Paul.
Yeah, I've
Apple,
done the Apple Pay a few times, not everything, but I've used the shop quite a bit. I didn't really think about it much. It's just kind of convenient, but I use that shop and get the alerts and things like that. And it's kind of cool.
no, but the point is the reason that it's such a good thing to do is because it does not give the companies your credit card numbers. They use some sort of algorithm to
Yeah.
actually notify the company and get it paid, but they don't give away your credit card numbers.
Yeah, Drew, you remember talked a couple of shows ago about me being hacked?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in the process of moving a lot of stuff and making strong passwords and two-factor this. It's a bit of a pain, but it's a lot more of a pain when you get hacked. A lot of people are getting hacked. I saw yesterday a thing flash on the screen saying some Canadian educational institution or school system was hacked, and they've got these ransomware demands, where they take over your computers and say, hey, if you want to get them back, pay this much to this place, and we'll let you get it back. So these are big organizations that are getting hacked, not just little people like you and me, or little people like me anyway. So be careful
Be
as
very
much as you can.
careful. Dr. Paul, the 8 dimensions of wellness. I didn't realize they put it in a package like this, but 8 dimensions of wellness. Let's go through it because this is real important because wellness is not just not being sick. Wellness is actually defined as the absence of illness or stress. That's not what it is. It's the presence of elements like purpose in life, joyful relationships, and satisfying in work and play. So let's start with the 8 dimensions of wellness. The first one is emotional, Dr. Paul, and
Yes.
that's the ability to enjoy life, to express feelings. What do you think about that one, Paul?
Yeah, that's important and important. And it's don't get too wrapped up with yourself and don't go too crazy. You can make yourself emotional, you can make yourself sick. You can make yourself you can make yourself sick worrying about something that may be serious or worrying about something that's just in your head, but you can damage your body and damage relationships with people. Sometimes you can get it through something you triggered on TV or a text message or something you just misinterpret. And I misinterpreted stuff. And I'm thinking I'm getting upset over nothing. I had it all together wrong.
Very true. And some of the things you can do for self-care practices are start meditation. We talk about meditation all the time. It's actually take some time for yourself to be quiet, to get your mind together. Also, you can try journaling. You know, if you're having some emotional things, write it down in the morning. You don't have to let anybody read it, but journaling has been a real good way to help with emotion. The next one, Dr. Paul, you and I talk about this, and we do it. It's the physical aspect, and that includes eating. But our favorite word, well, your favorite word is move. You got to move your body. And the more you exercise and the better you eat, the better you will feel. But it is one of the most major parts of being well is to take care of your body, take care of your mind and your body. But your body starts off with what you put into it and how you treat yourself. And there are apps and there are exercises and there is a lot of things you can do to help build your body up.
Yeah, if I
Paul?
could add something, if you're, even we're in front of a screen right now, and a lot of people in front of screens are sitting down. If you really can't do anything, you can stand up typically and just do some squats. Just move around
Yeah,
for 20, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, they won't seem too weird. Get up and sit down a bunch of times and just move around, shake it, get your lymphatic system going just for a few seconds. And it does help. It does help.
that's great. Next one, intellectual. Your intellect, that's your brain. And I think your brain controls everything. Well, actually, your brain does control everything. It's like you were talking about emotions. Well, that's your own brain. And I'm trying to work on controlling my own emotions, my own brain. But something that you have to do, just like with your muscles, how you have to keep them going in order to get them stronger, you have to do that with your brain also. And so what I'm doing now is I'm on this little app called Duolingo, and I'm learning two languages again. I'm learning Hebrew and Spanish. And that keeps my mind, the exercises keep my mind moving. It's like I'm running stairs for my brain. Paul?
Yeah, well, Mr. Drew, I think that's a good thing to do. That's something simple that I do every once in a while. I used to do when I go flying at night, waking up in the middle of the night just to go to work, to just kind of get myself up. I would do play with numbers. I'd multiply by three since I'm driving. Three times one is three, three times two is six, three times three. I would go up to 20. Three times 20 is 60. And then I would subtract by fours. 60 minus 4 is 56. 56 minus 4 is 52. 2 minus 4 is 4. Go back to zero or minus numbers. Just one's up and one's down. Just a little trick I heard some time ago. And I used to do that. I haven't done it in a while, but it stimulates you.
Sounds interesting. The next one, environmental. That means stop being nasty if you are, clean up around yourself. It is very important to live in a clean environment. Dr. Drew just told me this, Dr. Paul, that reptiles have to live in a clean environment. And now that I realize it, you don't see snakes and reptiles around garbage much. I didn't realize that. But environmental, get some house plants, be around plants because they give you oxygen. But take care of your where you live. Be neat. Keep yourself clean. Environmental, very important, Paul.
Yes, because remember, one of Commander Drew's least favorite people are those who he calls nastoids. Remember that?
Nastoids from the planet Nastoria. Yes, I do,
Right.
Paul. And I truly believe they live amongst us. And our job is to tell Nastoids to go back home. All right, the next one, very important, social. I used to think you could be a man by himself on an island, and that just does not work. We are Homo sapiens. We are social beings. We need to be involved with other people. And if you want to be involved with other people, maybe start writing letters to some of your family members. Maybe start making calls every once in a while to people who are older than you. They would love to receive phone calls like that. Video call. Now we have FaceTime and video call and Zoom. Talk with people, get involved with people. Don't you think, Paul?
Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot more. So the last 5 years, I guess, post-COVID, uh, changed my attitude on a lot of things, and I've reconnected with some people that I hadn't talked to in a long time. I don't use Facebook a lot. I'm not big on social media, but I have connected with people that I had something I hadn't seen in many decades, and that's been a very, very good thing, particularly as we get older.
I don't do Facebook much either, but I did find my gunnery Sergeant Clark on Facebook. So that's my Facebook love right there, that I found my gunnery sergeant from AOCS. Next one, spiritual. A lot of people think spiritual is religious. Well, I always say spirituality is to religion like justice is to law. I don't think they always go hand in hand. Spirituality is your own private deal with a power greater than yourself, whoever that might be. And I always said God is an omnipotent power greater than ourselves, whomever or whatever you choose to call it. But spirituality, if you like some good spirituality, go in the woods. Go take a walk in the forest, walk by the seashore, be with nature. That's a very spiritual place that you can find yourself and do some good thinking, Paul.
Yeah, Drew, I think that it's good to be quiet sometimes. It's good to be in a quiet place. So many people don't know any quiet because, there's bedlam going around all the time, and you don't get a sense of peace if you're always in a sense of war or conflict. It's nice to get out. Remember they still have it, the Fresh Air Fund. They used to advertise that
Yes.
in New York all the time. I sent them some money every once in a while. But Eddie Murphy had a little comic set decades ago where he said, "Remember the check?" I won't use the words, but remember the Fresh Air Fund. You know, when they would send a kid out to the country and mess up his mind. He didn't say mess up, but basically expose him to something different as opposed to just city life. So if you're in a quiet situation, you're really kind of blessed. But don't get too quiet. Don't wall yourself off. But you
Oh,
need some people.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was very, very fortunate. My mother used to send me to camp. Broadview Farm was one of them. Twin Lakes was another one. And that's from a very young age. During the summer, I would go up to Maine and go to camp, New Hampshire and go to camp. And it was one of the most fantastic times in my life. And I really grew. First of all, I learned how to be away from home.
Mhm.
And the second thing is I learned about nature and canoeing and swimming and all the animals that are out there. It was an excellent, excellent experience. Thank you, Mama, for making me do that. The next one, Dr. Paul, financial. Now, that's very easy to talk about, but that is a hard, hard thing, especially in this world today. Finances. I will tell you this, no matter where you work, always pay this bill first, and that's yourself. The first bill you should always pay, and I learned this a long time ago, pay
Mhm.
yourself first, meaning put some money away in savings, like Paul was talking about a 401k or something. Put something away for yourself. Pay yourself first. When I joined the Navy, 10% of my earnings went right into what was it, Navy Federal Credit Union it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
but 10% right away. And every time I got a raise, then that money got a raise. And that's how I was able to save some money, invest it, and become very profitable and be very happy and financially secure right now, Paul.
Yeah, right. Now, if you, even whether you're a CEO or not a CEO, with the good news and the pay, the concepts is still the same. They do it for sure, and more than that. But you've got to start, and the earlier you start, the better. It's a little hard to get your foot in the door when everything is so expensive, and we're going through like a weird phase now. But the concept's still the same. If you can save a dollar, it's better than zero.
I have a PSA, an emergency PSA from the Wingman Show. Don't screw up your credit. Once again, don't screw up your credit.
Dr. Paul, a lot of people have gotten credit cards and just has ruined their credit, and it takes years and years to get back. Do not do that. Buy what you can afford.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
Next one, the last one, occupational. Dr. Paul and I were very, very blessed to find an occupation that we loved. So we got paid good money to fly all over the world in big, beautiful airplanes. And that's how we both retired. And that's how both of us actually are getting our retirement. We found something we love to do, and that means we did it well. Occupational, fine. I believe this, and I've said it before. Everybody is a LeBron James, Paul. Everybody has a gift in something. That's why I want kids to go to college so they can experiment with new things. If you don't know what's out there, how do you know? Like Biggie said, if you don't know, well, now you know. Find a good job, find something you like to do, and it won't be work, Paul.
Right. Yeah. And again, earlier is better. Like you say, getting kids to go to college, because at that young point in your life, you're probably going to have fewer responsibilities than when you get older. And if you're going to see the world, experiment, and try different things before you have a family, this is the time to do it, not, waiting to middle age and you're, miserable in what you're doing because you never took the time to try to step out. Yeah. So for the youngsters out there or younger people, use your time wisely because it passes quicker than you realize.
Dr. Paul, the name of our show is called The Wingman Show. And of course, every week we have a wingman. And this week's wingman it's amazing. What a great story from Calhoun, Missouri. It's a very small town. Mark Harden was the fire chief of a one-man volunteer fire company. And this one-man volunteer fire company had no money, had one fire truck that didn't work. And what he did is he put it on Facebook and he started going to newspapers and radios in his town. And he got 28 volunteer firemen who started training and working and trying to fix up some of the equipment. Well, they had a man in his town called Sam Sloan, a 91-year-old man. Sam gave this fire department $500,000. He gave them $500,000 because he said he doesn't know how to fix fire trucks, but he knew how to make money. And now this fire department will get some brand new fire trucks. Everybody will get brand new fire gear. And this guy, Sam Sloan, was the wingman of the week. What do you think about Sam helping out a volunteer fire department, Paul?
Yeah, well, Sam is the wingman to the fire department and is also the wingman to the community. In case a fire breaks out, they've got a way to treat it. That's excellent.
Paul, whatever you and our listeners, whatever you guys think is beautiful, whatever you and our listeners, whatever you think is important, and Dr. Paul especially, whatever you and our listeners, whatever makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace.
I also pray for peace, and we appreciate all those who listen, like, and share the message. If you're watching on YouTube especially, give us a like. It helps with the algorithm. Click the notification icon so you'll get an alert every time we put out a new episode. And pass this on to somebody that you know, and somebody that you like, or even somebody that you don't like. Something different. Everything doesn't have to be negative. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.